Don't ruin your life. Don't do the irritating things other people do. We're all experts at identifying the irritating things that other people do, but we rarely ask ourselves if we do the same irritating things to others. Applying this rule, don't do the irritating things other people do, is a subset of applying the golden rule, but with a twist. Here, the process doesn't start with you imagining how you would feel if someone did to you what you're thinking of doing. Instead, it starts with you actually experiencing something unpleasant that someone is doing to you, and then, here's the key part, being on guard against doing the same thing. Some examples of irritating behaviors still commonly practiced despite thousands of years of universal detestation. Getting drunk and acting like a fool. Interrupting someone who is talking. Talking too loudly in a public or confined space. Talking with a mouthful of food. Talking only about yourself. Bragging. Constantly complaining. Not contributing your share of money or effort to some project or situation. These are just a few examples. The full list would be very long. People fail to apply the advice, don't do the irritating things other people do, for three main reasons. 1. We can't observe ourselves objectively as we interact with other people. If someone secretly made a video of you being irritating and then showed it to you later, that might help, but this probably won't happen. Trapped in our own bodies and minds, we simply cannot experience ourselves as others do. We can't read another person's mind while interacting with them, so we're usually unaware of being irritating, irksome, bothersome, boring, pedantic, patronizing, officious, arrogant, and so on. 2. We like ourselves, or at least have gotten very comfortable with ourselves. We assume that we're nice guys or gals, and that this should nullify any minor irksome trait we might have. If we ever do suspect that we sometimes irritate others, we usually don't ponder the matter deeply. If we actually get repeated feedback about an irritating trait or habit, we excuse it as people misunderstanding us, of only seeing our surface, of not knowing our true, deep, thoughtful, caring, wonderful inner selves. That could be true, but it's the surface person that most people see and interact with. It's the person they will judge, the one they decide to avoid or get to know better or socialize with or work with or hire or date. 3. We're often not honest with ourselves. We have a powerful vested interest in the current version of ourselves, the one we've created over the years. This current version is the end result of all our thoughts and actions up to the present moment. We naturally resist or deny outright anything that threatens to undermine or damages this carefully constructed entity, this I, me, my. Even if we admit possible character flaws or irritating habits, we tend to minimize our own particular version of them and tend to believe that we'll automatically rectify these problems as time goes on. In the worst case, we'll actively defend them and say, that's just how I am. This is the declaration of a shallow person. Aside from mental disease, disorders, or deficiencies beyond our control, our characters are not permanently fixed. We are who we choose to be. The bottom line is this: no matter how excellent you think you are, you almost certainly do things that disturb, bother, irritate, or irk other people. Everyone has character flaws. Unfortunately, we're rarely aware of our own flaws. This makes sense because if you were aware of a particular bad trait, you would already have eliminated it, or would be trying to eliminate it. Aside from having a continuous daily video made of yourself, the easiest way to identify your irritating habits is to ask someone who will answer you honestly. If a trusted friend or family member tells you about a bad habit or character flaw that you have, assume that it's true. However, you can work on avoiding or eliminating irritating behaviors all by yourself by doing these things. 1. When other people irritate you, mentally label that behavior and put it on your don't do list. 2. Pay close attention to how people behave when you interact with them. their verbal reactions and facial expressions. For example, if you're talking to someone and she starts eyeing the scenery or yawning, you're probably being a bore. 3. If you even suspect that you have some particular irritating trait or habit, assume that it's true. Not irritating your family and friends is a worthy goal. But it can be even more important when interacting with everyone else because they won't care about you enough to overlook it. This is especially important when you interact with someone for the first time, when the only thing they observe is your surface personality. First impressions matter. If you exhibit just one significantly irritating trait before a stranger discovers the deep, thoughtful, caring, decent, wonderful you, they might reject you as a possible friend, business partner, employee, or romantic interest. That's just how it is. A final note. Nothing in this advice is meant to imply that you should become a meek, quiet, colorless, passive person. Not being irritating doesn't mean you can't be outgoing, friendly, amusing, outspoken, interesting, active, helpful, and any other positive things you can think of.